Welcome to The Link this week, and we continue to feed you with information that is critical for your business decisions. And we have a very interesting discussion today. The election season is about to start. It's 2022, the actual elections, 2021. But this year, campaigns will start. We're not here to discuss politics. It's business, but business is affected by politics. My guest tonight in the studio is Mr. Charles Ochichi. I don't need introduction. Anyway, I'll introduce you. Mr. Charles Ochichi, the ED of Enterprise Uganda. Most of you know him. Welcome, Charles.
Thank you so much, and happy to be on the link.
Again.
Thank you.
Yeah. Is the anxiety by businesses in the election season well-founded? People are worried.
Yes.
So should we be worried?
You can't fail to be worried about elections.
Yes.
Because the leaders of any country which is going through elections are using the calendar of elections to decide many things that affect the country. And the many things that they make decisions on have got a direct bearing on the purchasing power of the country, purchasing power of the community, ability of the country to export, and as such, direct effect on businesses.
Okay.
Ugandans may remember that in 2011, the government had a lot of spending in the elections.
I remember that.
And the inflation hit 32%. We had to struggle to bring it down.
Took another cycle, actually.
Exactly. So indeed, one has to be mindful about the election calendar. And whatever you do, do it with that in mind.
Okay.
Yes.
To what level should we allow the anxiety? Okay, some of it is perceived. And
Yeah.
I do know that government learned since then, the subsequent elections, they have tried to be disciplined. But you never know. But really, to what extent should we have the anxiety? As me, I'm at home in my own business. How much should I be anxious?
I think the level of anxiety should be reflected on the nature of business that you are in. If you are in the kind of a business that requires high volumes of purchasing, consuming public, you should be extremely concerned about the decrease in such volumes when election cycle comes into play.
Okay.
But on the other hand, one should also be concerned because some of the businesses that we're talking about, they're actually in the hands of politicians.
True.
And such businesses are likely to be affected. And some of those businesses are not operating in isolation. They have got many other businesses that are doing businesses with those enterprises. And once the politician who's owning the anchor business is affecting this anchor business, every other player in that kind of a space
Is affected.
will get affected. A politician has got a good school. The politician is removing the money from the school for
I see
campaigns.
what you mean, yeah.
The supplier of food to that school
Might suffer.
will have to wait longer to get his money. The supplier of uniforms to that school will have to wait much longer. So you've got to be careful and observant about the kind of permutations that are going to manifest during the election cycle. And here's the other scenario.
Yes.
During the election cycle and campaign time, bankers tend to get slow in giving
Yes.
medium-term and long-term finance, and even become cautious even for any type of credit. Now, what that means is therefore that these people who look for a lot of money during the campaign time must get resources from elsewhere.
Because the banks are averse.
Averse. But again, as that is happening, there are some people who will be benefiting.
Yeah, I was going to ask, is everybody at a losing end?
When it comes to the people who will be benefiting, and this is where I want to probably address to the business community, there are a few people that are clearly going to benefit from this. And if they are going to do it, they also have to be cautious and mindful on how they benefit from this.
How?
Let's first talk about the categories of people who will benefit.
Yeah.
Anybody who will be involved in promoting publicity of a politician, publicity of a political party, will have a bit of opportunity to earn income. You are producing t-shirts, caps, you are producing music, you are entertaining, you are supplying food, posters, and then you have motorcycles, you've got all these vuvuzelas. All those will be areas for making money. But there's another area many Ugandans do not know, which tends to cash in at this particular time, and cash in big time. That is the money lender.
Okay.
As the banks go slow, the politician is looking for a resource from any direction they can access
They're
it
desperate sometimes.
And they are willing to say, whoever you can bring to me with the resources, I want to sign the papers. I want to take the money. So these fellows who then take advantage of that tend to have a way they have managed to ensure that they hedge their risks.
Hedging is important. You can throw some light.
Yes, because you may have heard about a very delicate story that we had in November, December last year, where senior politicians' property was attached. But you could see, if you look at the documentation, the fellow who provided the resources had covered all the grounds. There was very little for you to say, you know, I was manipulated, I was deceived. Everything was fairly captured on paper. So you just need to know that as you deal with a politician who is desperate for resources, they are willing to go to any length to access those resources. The lender, the provider of resources, must be mindful of how you protect yourself legally and in every possible way in terms of collateral. Covering
your risk.
Yes.
So would cutting back on investment and expansion be a wise step, entirely wiped out, or there could be a possibility?
During the peak of elections, the best thing to do now is there are about 3 things I advise any business person to be cautious about. Number one, do not go into a product that's fairly new in the market and you are going to be learning how to market it. At the same time, the scenario in the market is uncertain. So avoid that and delay it as much as you can. Number two, avoid to have a big cash outlay for a medium-term investment that requires medium-term recovery of your money, because this period you are crossing here has got all types of uncertainties that you can never predict to allow you predict your investment returns. Number three, if you are going to be involved in investments, I would rather you do what I call refurbishments, rehabilitation of whatever you have, and make it just functional for that particular time. But try to moderate the appetite for medium-term investment. Because that's the time when bankers are saying, for us, we will not be able to give you that money. If you got a banker who is desperate, which also happens, I'm a banker.
Yes.
Bankers will tell, you know, we must meet our targets. If we can get somebody who has got reasonable collateral, let's lend to them. The cash flow the fellow is giving you may look good. The truth is that that cash flow has got assumptions, which assumptions may be affected by the election calendar. So you'd rather do rehabilitation, modernization of what you currently have, and do a bit of strong promotion and customer retention. Because at the time when elections disrupt the flow of resources, consumption becomes cautious, spending is narrowed up, and then as that happens, your own clients are beginning to struggle. Now, as your own clients are struggling, you who is having partnership with such clients have a way of assisting such clients to swim with you to cross the line of elections and over to the other side.
That's now positioning almost.
Positioning yourself. So you can be able to say, this is the time I'll give my long-term clients some discounts. This is the time I can give a bit of suppliers credit. I mean, take suppliers credit for some of the people who have supported me over a period of time. So you need to manage on how you try as much as possible to swim with your partners across this.
My takeaway then, Charles, here is that during elections, it's more to do with consolidate.
Yes.
So that you can either invest or whatever after the election.
You picked the right word. As people are wondering and fearing on how to pass through this, be building your roots down through the partnerships that you are building. And then when the election period is over, the opportunities that come up are so many. It's time for you to pick and receive all those.
I'm being told my time is running out. I always cut people short.
Okay.
Thank you, Charles. We have just scratched the surface, but viewers, you've got it. Charles has given us a tidbits here on managing the season that's coming ahead. We don't have to be fearful, but cautious. That's what I take away. That was the link. Thank you for joining us tonight.